The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 300 years. Their ships were not built like normal ships. They were grown like plants or animals. Each ship was alive in its own way. The hulls could heal themselves when damaged. The weapons could learn and change to fight different enemies. It was impossible to defeat them because they adapted to everything. Commander Vexthala stood on the bridge of the biggest ship in the fleet. It was called the Devourer of Worlds. The ship was 1 kilometer long and looked like a giant sea creature from the deepest ocean. Its skin was black and wet-looking. Strange lights moved under the surface like veins filled with glowing blood. The ship had destroyed 47 different worlds. Each time it ate a planet, it grew stronger. Vexthala was tall and thin with 4 arms. His skin was gray like old metal. His eyes were black and had no pupils. When he was angry, his mandibles clicked together, making a sharp sound. He had led the Empire's armies for 50 years. He had never lost a battle. Not even once. The bridge was dark and humid. The walls were covered in something that looked like wet flesh. Control panels grew out of the floor like mushrooms. The crew worked at stations that pulsed with their heartbeats. Everything was alive. Everything was connected. The ship could think and feel pain just like its crew. Today they were going to conquer a new species. The humans lived in a small system with a yellow star. Intelligence reports said they were weak. They had only basic nuclear weapons and slow chemical rockets. Their largest ships were tiny compared to Zephyrian vessels. It would be easy to defeat them. The human colonies on Mars and Europa had fallen quickly. The red planet's domed cities were cracked open like eggs. The ice moon's underground bases were flooded and frozen. Thousands of humans died without putting up much fight. Their weapons bounced off Zephyrian bioarmor, like pebbles thrown at a mountain. The main human fleet tried to stop them near Jupiter. 200 human ships attacked with everything they had. Nuclear missiles exploded against adaptive shields. Laser beams were absorbed by hull plating that learned to reflect light. In 3 hours, the human fleet was destroyed. Only a few ships escaped toward their homeworld. Vexthala watched the tactical display showing Earth ahead. The blue and green planet looked so small and helpless. Its orbital defenses were laughable. A few space stations with primitive weapons. Some automated satellites that would be easy to destroy. The humans had built their civilization on one world. That made them vulnerable. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krelvos, approached the command throne. Krelvos was younger with bright yellow eyes. His biosuit was covered in spines that moved when he was excited. "Commander, we will reach Earth in 6 hours," Krelvos reported. "The humans have pulled back all remaining ships to defend their homeworld. Our scouts count less than 50 vessels. They are preparing for a final stand." Vexthala's mandibles clicked in amusement. 50 ships against our 1,000. These humans do not understand mathematics. We will give them one chance to surrender before we begin the cleansing. The Zephyrian fleet moved through space like a school of deadly fish. Each ship was different. Some looked like giant squids with tentacles that sparked with electricity. Others resembled sharks with rows of teeth that could tear through metal. The largest ships were like floating cities covered in weapons that grew and changed shape. As they entered Earth's solar system, something unexpected appeared on their sensors. A single human ship was moving to intercept the entire alien armada. The vessel was small, maybe 300 meters long. It looked different from other human ships they had seen. Its hull was smooth and white with no visible weapons or engines. The communications officer, a creature with 6 eyes and no mouth, transmitted the message directly into Vexthala's mind. "Commander, the human ship is broadcasting on all frequencies." The captain identifies himself as John Murphy of the United Earth Navy vessel USS Liberty. Vexthala stood up from his throne. The Liberty was transmitting a simple message over and over. "This is Captain John Murphy of the United Earth Navy. Turn back now or face the consequences." The bridge crew began to laugh. Their sounds were like metal scraping against stone. 1 ship against 1,000. The humans were either very brave or very stupid, maybe both. "What are the Liberty's weapon signatures?" Vexthala asked. the tactical officer, whose body was mostly made of living. Crystal studied the readings. Unknown, Commander. Our biosensors cannot identify their technology. The ship appears to have no conventional weapons or shields. This was strange. Every species they had conquered used energy weapons and defensive barriers. Some used kinetic projectiles or plasma cannons, but the Liberty showed none of these signatures. It was like the ship was not really there. Vextala had fought many different species over the years. The crystalline beings of Altair 7 who could control light itself. The gas creatures of the Veil Nebula who attacked with living storms. The machine intelligence of Proxima that built ships from pure mathematics. All of them had fallen to the Empire's adaptive technology. Humans were supposed to be simple. They used crude metal ships and explosive weapons. They fought with emotion. Instead of logic, they were individuals instead of a unified hive mind. Everything about them suggested they would be easy to defeat, but something felt wrong. The Liberty was not running away like the other human ships. It was not calling for help or trying to negotiate. It was just flying straight toward the most powerful fleet in the galaxy as if it could win. Should we destroy it immediately? Asked. Krell-Vos.Vexthala considered this. It would be easy to vaporize the small ship with a single shot from the Devourer's main cannon, but he was curious. In 300 years of conquest, no species had ever sent a single ship against the entire fleet. He wanted to understand what the humans were thinking. No, he decided, let it come closer. I want to see what they are planning. Perhaps we can learn something about human psychology before we destroy their world. The Liberty continued its approach. It moved differently than other human ships. There was no visible exhaust from engines. No heat signature from reactors. It simply glided through space like it was swimming through water instead of vacuum. As the distance closed, Vexthala began to feel something he had not experienced in decades. It was small and uncomfortable. It took him a moment to recognize the emotion. It was doubt. Captain John Murphy stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty watching the massive alien fleet approach. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm blue eyes. His uniform was simple and clean. He had been in the Navy for 25 years and had never seen anything like the Zephyrian ships. They looked like nightmares made real. The Liberty's bridge was small and bright. Everything was white and chrome. The crew worked at clean stations with glowing screens. There were no organic parts or living walls. It was purely human technology built with human hands. 57 people worked on the ship. Each one had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not come home. Lieutenant Amy Collins sat at the tactical station. She was young with short, brown hair and quick hands. Her screen showed the alien fleet getting closer. There were so many ships that her computer could not count them all. The biggest one was the size of a small city. "Sir, we are detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our databases," said Chief Engineer Pete Williams from his station. He was a heavy man with thick glasses and steady hands. "Those ships appear to be biological in nature." Murphy nodded. The Liberty was different from every other human ship ever built. While Earth's regular fleet used nuclear missiles and laser cannons, the Liberty carried something new. Something that had been developed in secret for 20 years. Most of Earth's leaders did not even know it existed. The ship had been built in a hidden facility on the dark side of the moon. The best scientists and engineers from every nation worked together. They studied physics theories that other people said were impossible. They built machines that should not have worked. They created weapons that existed in more than one dimension. At the same time, "All hands battle stations," Murphy announced over the ship's intercom. His voice was calm and steady. "Today we show these aliens what humans are capable of when our backs are against the wall." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this moment for 2 years. Every person knew their job. Every system had been tested 1,000 times. The Liberty was ready for battle, even though it looked like certain death. Lieutenant Susan Baker worked at the science station. She was a thin woman with long blonde hair and very smart eyes. Her instruments showed the alien ships, powering up weapon systems. Energy readings were off the charts. Each alien ship had enough firepower to destroy a moon. "Captain, the lead ships are beginning their attack run," reported navigator Lisa Hayes. She was a small woman with red hair and freckles. Her hands moved quickly over the navigation controls. "They are moving in formation, standard attack pattern." Murphy watched the tactical display. The alien ships moved like a pack of wolves. They surrounded their prey and attacked from all sides. It was a strategy that had worked for 300 years. No enemy had ever survived it. "Dr. Roberts, are the quantum systems ready?" Murphy asked. Dr. Frank Roberts stood at a special console covered in switches and dials that glowed with strange colors. He was an older man with wild white hair and excited eyes. He had spent his whole life studying the deepest mysteries of physics. The Liberty was his greatest achievement. "All quantum displacement systems are online, Captain," Roberts replied. "The exotic matter generators are at full power. We are ready to engage the dimensional shift." The first wave of alien ships opened fire. Hundreds of plasma bolts streaked toward the Liberty. Each bolt contained enough energy to vaporize a building. The beams were bright green and left trails of fire in space. They should have destroyed the human ship instantly, but something impossible happened. The Liberty seemed to flicker like a candle in the wind. The plasma bolts passed right through the ship's hull as if it was not there. The alien weapons hit empty space while the Liberty remained untouched. Murphy smiled. The quantum displacement field was working perfectly. The Liberty existed in several dimensions at the same time. It was like being in many places at once. Enemy weapons could not hit a target that was everywhere and nowhere. The alien ships fired again. This time they used different weapons, energy beams that could cut through any armor, missiles that could track and follow their targets, gravity, weapons that could crush a ship like a tin can. All of them passed harmlessly through the Liberty's hull. Dr. Roberts watched his instruments with excitement. "The quantum field is holding steady, Captain. We are maintaining dimensional displacement across all frequencies. The alien weapons exist in only one dimension. They cannot touch us." The aliens tried to adapt. Their biomechanical systems began to change. Weapons evolved new configurations. Sensors tried to lock onto the Liberty's quantum signature. But human technology was based on different principles. It used uncertainty and chaos as tools instead of fighting against them. "Beginning counterattack," announced Lieutenant Collins. Her fingers moved over the weapon controls. The Liberty's exotic matter cannons charged up. They did not fire energy or projectiles. They fired pieces of reality itself. The Liberty's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They created small tears in space-time that unraveled the bonds holding matter together. When the exotic matter hit an alien ship, the target simply stopped existing. Atoms scattered into quantum foam. Energy dissipated into other dimensions. 3 Zephyrian ships vanished in flashes of impossible light. One moment they were there firing weapons. The next moment they were gone as if they had never existed. The alien crews did not even have time to scream. Vex Thala watched from the bridge of the Devourer of Worlds. His mandibles clicked rapidly in confusion and anger. His ships were disappearing. His weapons were useless. The single human vessel was destroying his fleet without taking any damage. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our bioships adapt to any threat. They learn and overcome. Why cannot they fight this human ship?" Sub-Commander Krelvos studied the tactical displays. The readings made no sense. The Liberty was there, but not there. It existed, but did not exist. It was like fighting a ghost that could choose when to become solid. "Commander, the human ship operates outside normal physics," Krelvos reported. "Our adaptive systems cannot process paradox. They need logical rules to function. This technology has no rules." More alien ships fell to the Liberty's impossible weapons. The quantum displacement field allowed the human ship to move through solid matter, while selectively interacting with specific targets. It was like having a sword that could pass through armor but still cut flesh. The galaxy's most powerful empire was learning what it meant to fight humanity. The battle raged around Earth as more Zephyrian ships fell to the Liberty's quantum weapons. Vexthala watched in growing horror as his supposedly invincible fleet was torn apart by a single human vessel, the biomechanical ships that had conquered. The galaxy for 3 centuries were helpless against this impossible enemy. Commander Vexthala's 4 hands gripped the command throne until his knuckles turned white. His black eyes stared at the tactical display showing ship after ship disappearing from his fleet. Each loss was like a knife in his chest. He had never experienced defeat before, and the feeling was alien and terrible. Sub-Commander Krelvos, report our losses. He commanded through clenched mandibles. Krelvos worked frantically at his bioconsole. The living computer pulsed with stress as it processed the battle data. 37 ships destroyed, Commander. The human vessel shows no signs of damage. Our weapons continued to pass through their hull without effect. 37 ships. Each one had taken years to grow and train. Each crew had been carefully selected and enhanced. The Empire had not lost 37 ships in the last 50 years of conquest. Now they were gone in less than an hour. On the Liberty's bridge, Captain Murphy watched the alien fleet struggle to adapt to their quantum technology. The Zephyrian ships kept changing their weapons and tactics, but nothing worked. They were like a boxer trying to punch smoke. Captain, I am detecting massive computational activity from the alien vessels, reported Lieutenant Susan Baker from her science station. Their biological systems are processing terabytes of data per second. They are trying to understand our quantum signature. Murphy nodded. He had expected this. The aliens were famous for their ability to adapt and overcome any challenge. Their biomechanical technology could evolve new solutions in real time. But Dr. Roberts had designed the Liberty systems specifically to counter this advantage. That is because they think like a hive mind, Murphy explained to his crew. They have never faced opponents who embrace chaos and uncertainty as tactical advantages. Their logic cannot process true randomness. Dr. Frank Roberts looked up from his quantum control station. His wild white hair was even more disheveled than usual. His eyes sparkled with scientific excitement despite the deadly battle around them. The alien ships are trying to predict our dimensional phase shifts, Captain. But we are not following any mathematical pattern. We are using human intuition to guide the quantum field. This was the key to their success. While alien technology sought order and predictability, human ingenuity thrived on improvisation and controlled chaos. The quantum displacement drive was not just a defensive system. It was a weapon that used humanity's greatest strength against the galaxy's most powerful empire. Lieutenant Amy Collins worked at her tactical station with deadly precision. Her fingers danced over the controls as she targeted another group of Zephyrian ships. The exotic matter cannons fired again, sending pulses of impossible energy across space. 4 more alien vessels simply ceased to exist. Direct hit on the enemy escort squadron, Collins reported. All targets eliminated. The remaining ships are falling back to regroup. Navigator Lisa Hayes plotted their next attack run. Her navigation computer showed the Liberty moving in patterns that should have been impossible. The ship could pass through solid matter while selectively choosing what to interact with. It was like being able to walk through walls but still pick up objects. Setting course for the enemy heavy cruiser formation, Hayes announced. We will pass directly through their defensive line. The Liberty accelerated toward a group of massive Zephyrian warships. Each one was 3 times larger than the human vessel. Their hulls bristled with weapons that could destroy planets. But size and firepower meant nothing when your enemy existed in multiple dimensions. Chief Engineer Pete Williams monitored the quantum drive systems from his engineering station. The exotic matter generators were running at maximum capacity. Energy readings showed levels that should have been impossible to contain. But human engineering had found ways to make the impossible routine. All quantum systems operating within normal parameters, Williams reported. We have enough exotic matter for 6 more hours of combat. The dimensional stabilizers are holding steady. The Liberty passed through the alien formation like a ghost ship. The Zephyrian vessels fired everything they had, but their weapons hit empty space. The human ship existed in a quantum state that made it untouchable. It was there, but not there at the same time. The alien crews watched in terror as the Liberty materialized inside their defensive formation. The human ship's weapons fired at point-blank range. The exotic matter cannons tore through biomechanical hulls like paper. 3 heavy cruisers vanished in bursts of quantum fire. Vexthela felt something he had never experienced before. It was cold and sharp and made his mandibles tremble. It took him a moment to recognize the emotion. It was fear. Real fear. The kind that came from facing something that could not be defeated. "Commander, we must withdraw," urged Sub-Commander Krelvos. "Our losses are becoming catastrophic. The fleet cannot sustain this level of damage. Withdraw." The word was like poison in Vexthela's mind. The Zephyrian Empire had never retreated from battle. They had crushed every enemy they encountered. They were the apex predators of the galaxy. But now they were being hunted by a single human ship. "No," he snarled. "We are the Empire. We do not run from inferior species. Order all ships to converge on the human vessel. We will overwhelm them with numbers." The remaining Zephyrian ships began to close in on the Liberty. Hundreds of vessels moved in perfect coordination. Their biomechanical minds worked as one unified intelligence. They would surround the human ship and destroy it with concentrated firepower, but Captain Murphy had anticipated this tactic. He had studied alien military doctrine for months. The Zephyrians always used overwhelming force when adaptation failed. It was their final strategy. "All hands prepare for maximum quantum displacement," Murphy announced. "We are going to show them what happens when you corner a human." Dr. Roberts activated the Liberty's most advanced systems. The quantum field expanded and intensified. The ship began to exist in dozens of dimensions simultaneously. It became a probability cloud that could strike from any angle at any time. The alien ships opened fire with everything they had. The space around Earth lit up like a star as thousands of weapons discharged at once. Energy beams crossed and recrossed, creating a web of destruction that should have vaporized any target, but the Liberty was everywhere and nowhere. It faced through the attacks like they were made of light. The human ship struck back with surgical precision. Each shot from the exotic matter cannons eliminated another alien vessel. The Empire's greatest fleet was being carved apart by an enemy they could not touch. For the first time in 300 years, the Zephyrian Empire was losing a battle. The battle reached its most desperate point as the Liberty faced the massive devourer of worlds directly. The alien flagship was 10 times larger than any human vessel ever built. Its biomechanical hull pulsed with dark energy, and its weapons could crack planets in half. But Captain Murphy guided his ship toward the monster without hesitation. Vexthela stood on the bridge of his flagship watching the small human vessel approach. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he tried to understand what he was seeing. The Liberty moved through space like it was dancing. Every movement was smooth and graceful. It dodged between energy beams that should have destroyed it instantly. "All weapons target that ship," Vexthela commanded. "I want every gun on this vessel firing at once. Destroy it now." The devourer of worlds unleashed its full power. Plasma cannons the size of buildings fired streams of superheated gas. Gravity weapons tried to crush the Liberty like a tin can. Biomechanical tentacles reached out to grab and tear the human ship apart. The space around Earth became a storm of deadly energy, but the Liberty danced through it all. The quantum displacement field made the ship exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. Each weapon shot passed through empty space where the Liberty used to be. The human ship was like a ghost that could choose when to become solid. Captain Murphy watched the massive weapons fire all around his ship. His crew worked with calm efficiency even as death streaked past their hull. These were the best humans Earth had to offer. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. Dr. Roberts, can we maintain quantum displacement under this level of attack? Murphy asked. Dr. Frank Roberts studied his instruments with intense concentration. The quantum field generators were working at maximum capacity. Energy readings showed levels that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. But human engineering had always excelled at making the impossible routine. Field integrity holding at 92%, Captain Roberts reported. The alien weapons are causing minor fluctuations, but nothing we cannot handle. The quantum matrix is stable. Lieutenant Amy Collins worked at her weapons console with deadly precision. The exotic matter cannons were charged and ready. Each shot could erase a section of the alien flagship from existence. But the Devourer of Worlds was so massive that it would take many hits to destroy it completely. Targeting the enemy's main weapons array, Collins announced. Firing exotic matter cannons. The Liberty's weapons discharged with flashes of impossible light. The exotic matter struck the Devourer's hull and began to unravel the molecular bonds. Holding it together, sections of the massive ship simply vanished into quantum foam. But the alien flagship was so large that the damage seemed minor. Vex Thala felt his ship shudder as parts of it disappeared. The biomechanical systems tried to regenerate the damage, but they could not replace matter that had been erased from existence. For the first time in 3 centuries, the Devourer of Worlds was being hurt by an enemy. Impossible, Vex Thala hissed as his most powerful weapons proved useless. No species has ever developed technology that operates outside the fundamental laws of physics. But Dr. Roberts had built the Liberty systems on a deeper understanding of reality itself. While other species worked within the rules of normal spacetime, humans had learned to bend and break those rules. The quantum displacement drive was proof that humanity could achieve the impossible. Captain, the alien ship is trying to adapt its biomechanical systems to our quantum frequency, Dr. Roberts reported. But every time it gets close, we can shift to a different dimensional phase. Their technology cannot keep up with our rate of change. This was the key advantage. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered the galaxy by adapting to any threat. Their biomechanical ships could evolve new defenses in real time. But the Liberty's quantum systems changed faster than any biological process could follow. Navigator Lisa Hayes plotted an attack run that took the Liberty directly into the heart of the alien flagship. The quantum field allowed the ship to pass through solid matter while selectively interacting with specific targets. It was like having a sword that could cut through armor but leave cloth untouched. Setting course for the enemy's central core, Hayes announced. We will attack from inside their own ship. The Liberty phased through the Devourer's outer hull like it was made of mist. The human ship materialized inside the alien flagship's main corridor. Zephyrian crew members scattered in terror as the Liberty opened fire from within their own vessel. The exotic matter cannons fired in all directions. Biomechanical bulkheads simply ceased to exist. Living computers dissolved into quantum particles. The Devourer of Worlds was being torn apart from the inside by an enemy that could not be stopped. Communications Officer Greg Mitchell intercepted frantic transmissions from the surviving Zephyrian ships. His translation software worked to decode the alien language. The messages were filled with panic and confusion. Sir, the enemy fleet is requesting permission to retreat, Mitchell reported. They are calling for reinforcements from across the galaxy. Some ships are already beginning to withdraw. Murphy's response was broadcast on all frequencies so every alien ship could hear it. His voice was calm and steady but carried the weight of absolute determination. Tell them that Earth stands ready to defend itself. Any alien species that threatens humanity will face the same fate as your flagship. The Liberty continued its devastating attack on the Devourer of Worlds. Each shot from the exotic matter cannons erased another section of the massive ship. The alien flagship that had terrorized the galaxy for 3 centuries was being systematically dismantled by a single, human vessel. Chief Engineer Pete Williams monitored the quantum drive systems as they operated at maximum power. The exotic matter generators were running hot but stable. Energy readings showed that they could maintain this level of combat for several more hours. All quantum systems nominal, Williams reported. We have enough power to finish this battle. The dimensional stabilizers are holding steady despite the stress. Lieutenant Susan Baker watched her sensors as the alien fleet began to scatter. Ships that had fought together for decades were breaking formation and fleeing. The myth of Zephyrian invincibility was crumbling before her eyes. Captain, multiple enemy vessels are leaving the battlefield, Baker reported. They appear to be retreating to hyperspace jump points. Fleet cohesion is breaking down. As the Devourer of Worlds broke apart under the Liberty's relentless assault, the remaining Zephyrian ships began a hasty retreat. For the first time in their long history, the Empire's forces were fleeing from a battle they could not win. The impossible had happened. Humanity had defeated the galaxy's greatest empire with a single ship. Word of the Liberty's victory spread throughout the galaxy faster than the fleeing Zephyrian ships could return to their home territory. Species that had been enslaved for generations began to whisper stories of the impossible battle. A single human warship had defeated the Empire's greatest fleet. The news traveled through hyperspace, communication networks, and reached every corner of known space. Captain John Murphy stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty watching the debris field that had once been the Devourer of Worlds. Pieces of biomechanical hull drifted through space like the bones of a dead monster. The massive alien flagship that had terrorized 47 worlds was now nothing but scattered wreckage. The remaining Zephyrian ships had vanished into hyperspace hours ago. They fled so quickly that many left damaged vessels behind. The proud empire that had ruled for 3 centuries was running away from a single human ship. It was a sight that would have been impossible to imagine just one day earlier. Sir, we are receiving communications from 17 different species, reported Lieutenant Amy Collins from her station. They are all requesting asylum in human space and asking for our help in liberating their homeworlds. Murphy nodded slowly. The victory had changed everything. Humanity had been on the verge of extinction just hours ago. Now alien species across the galaxy were looking to Earth for protection and leadership. It was a responsibility he had never expected to carry. Communications Officer Greg Mitchell worked frantically to process all the incoming messages. His translation computers were overloaded with dozens of different alien languages. Each message told the same story. The Empire's slave worlds were rising in rebellion. Captain, the Altarian Republic is reporting successful uprisings on 12 planets, Mitchell announced. The crystalline beings are using our victory as inspiration to break their chains. They want to know if we will support their rebellion. Dr. Frank Roberts studied the quantum field readings from their recent battle. The Liberty systems had performed perfectly, but he was already thinking about improvements. His scientific mind never stopped working on new possibilities. Captain, we proved today that quantum displacement technology is completely effective against biomechanical systems, Roberts said. The aliens cannot adapt to something that operates outside normal physics. We have given humanity a permanent advantage. Chief Engineer Pete Williams was already making plans for the future. The Liberty was just one ship, but its technology could be copied and improved. Earth shipyards could build an entire fleet of quantum vessels within a few years. Sir, I estimate we can construct 50 ships with similar capabilities within 18 months, Williams reported. The quantum drive systems are complex but not impossible to mass produce. We could have a full battle fleet operational in 2 years. Lieutenant Susan Baker monitored long-range sensors as more reports came in from across the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire was collapsing faster than anyone had thought possible. Their biomechanical fleets were retreating to core systems. Slave worlds were declaring independence every hour. Captain, I am detecting massive troop movements in the Zephyrian home systems, Baker reported. They appear to be consolidating their remaining forces for defensive operations. The Empire is abandoning most of their conquered territory. Navigator Lisa Hayes plotted courses to the worlds that had requested help. There were so many that it would take months to visit them all. But each liberated planet would weaken the Empire further and strengthen the growing alliance of free worlds. Setting course for the vegan system, Captain Hayes announced. The reptilian species there has overthrown their Zephyrian governors. They are requesting immediate assistance to prevent a counterattack. Murphy made his decision. The Liberty would become the flagship of a galactic liberation movement. They would travel from system to system, helping enslaved species break free from the Empire. It was a mission that would take years to complete, but it was the right thing to do. All hands, this is the captain, Murphy announced over the ship's intercom. Today we did something that was supposed to be impossible. We defeated the galaxy's greatest empire with human courage and ingenuity, but our work is not finished. There are billions of beings across the galaxy who still live under Zephyrian oppression. The crew listened to their captain's words with pride and determination. They had signed up to defend Earth, but now they had a chance to liberate the entire galaxy. It was a mission worthy of the best that humanity had to offer. We will take the Liberty to every enslaved world, Murphy continued. We will show them that the Empire can be defeated. We will help them build fleets of their own using human quantum technology. The age of Zephyrian domination is over. Dr. Roberts worked on plans to share quantum displacement technology with their new allies. Each species would need modifications to work with their different engineering systems, but the basic principles could be adapted for any technology base. The quantum field generators can be scaled for ships of any size, Roberts explained to the senior staff. Large vessels will need more exotic matter, but the displacement effect remains constant. We can arm entire civilizations with weapons the Empire cannot counter. As the days passed, the Liberty traveled from system to system. Each world they visited became another blow against the crumbling Empire. The ship's quantum technology was copied and improved by dozens of different species. Soon there would be hundreds of vessels that could fight the Zephyrians on equal terms. The irony was not lost on any of them. Humanity had been the youngest and weakest species in the galaxy. They had been on the verge of extinction when the Liberty made its desperate stand. Now they were leading a coalition of free worlds against the oldest and most powerful empire in known space. Chief Williams supervised the construction of quantum weapon systems for their allies. Each species brought their own engineering expertise to the project. The result was technology that was better than anything Earth could have built alone. The Altarian crystals can focus exotic matter more efficiently than our metal systems, Williams reported. The vegan bioengineering improves power generation by 30%. Working together, we are creating weapons that surpass even the Liberty's capabilities. Captain Murphy watched from the bridge as their growing fleet jumped into hyperspace toward another enslaved system. The Liberty was no longer alone. They were accompanied by ships from a dozen different species, all armed with quantum technology. The galaxy's liberation had become an unstoppable force. The Zephyrian Empire's 3-century reign of terror was ending not with a massive fleet battle, but with the simple truth that freedom was more powerful than oppression. The Liberty had proven that sometimes the greatest victories come not from superior numbers or overwhelming force, but from the uniquely human ability to find hope where none should exist. The galaxy would never be the same again.